Hey, what's up guys? Got a job coming up on a new home with the stairs. Has a lot of balusters and they do not want to have shoes going around the bottom of their baluster. So I need to square mortise the holes and put the balusters directly in the square with no shoes. And normally you could do this by drilling a 1/2 inch hole and then just hammering the square hollow chisel down into the hole, creating that square recess. Probably not super fast, not super productive. Could use a bench mounted machine. That has its pros and cons also. So I asked a guy that I respect a lot. Some of you probably know him as The Real Stair Guy, and he had this really cool contraption where he essentially attached the square chisel to an air chisel hammer to really speed things up. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this video. I haven't done this before, so I thought I'd just make a video and take you along through the process on how I rig this up. Okay, so first things first, I picked up an air hammer, chisel, whatever, off of Amazon. This was their best seller. So it comes in the box, and we're going to need to attach the air chisel to this 1/2 inch mortise chisel. And the thing I asked Aaron is, it's a great idea to do this, but how in the world do you make that connection? And he said, well, usually in these kits, they come with 3 bits, which they do, and one of the bits is just kind of this round pointy apparatus. So what he did is essentially sanded this down so that it tapered down and fit inside the chisel, and then because of the impacting, it'll actually just stay put in there and it'll never come out once you start using it. So I've got to kind of grind this down and taper it down so that it fits in here. It comes with this chuck which you need to attach, and it's got bearings on the inside that hold the bit in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and install that first. Looks like you just twisted one. Get it nice and tight. Then it's got some set screws along here, and this is a 3mm set screw. Okay, so I've got my chuck installed, I've got my air fitting installed. Next, I've got to figure out how I'm going to get this to fit in there. The one thing Aaron said that he wished he would have done was reduce the length. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this down and then probably take it over to the grinder and just kind of grind some off and put a little taper on it so that this will connect. This is a little tricky because I've got it ground down quite a bit, all the way up to about right here, but I don't want to go too much. I'm going to use my dial calipers here. Where it stops whenever I insert it, I'm going to take a reading thereabouts. Looks like about 0.45 would be ideal. We'll go a little bit more. So I've got it to the point where it'll insert a good probably inch or so into the shaft there, and I'm guessing that once the air chisel starts impacting, it'll come up quite a bit more. All the way up here I didn't take any off because I want to make sure, even if this mushroom's out and it does end up bottoming out up here, I don't want this to ever come out. Basically, I want this to go in and be permanent. So I didn't want to take too much off. At this point, before I go ahead and hook this up to the gun and use it, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to insert this into the chisel, and I'm just going to try and set it with a hammer. So at this point I've got probably 3/4 of an inch left here, and I don't think it's going to go a whole lot further than that for right now. So I'm going to go ahead and hook it up and start using it. Well, this is definitely interesting. I'll clamp it down. I'm going to use the square to get it lined up. First impressions, I like it, but it's not quite as good as I thought it was going to be. The thing that happens is, as you line up your 1/2-inch hole, if that chisel is not squared perfectly and centered perfectly on that hole, it kind of wants to plunge one way or another as it goes in. It's not terrible, but it's not perfection. So I might need to fiddle with my techniques a little bit and see what happens. I think I'll probably still end up using it, but I need to definitely refine things before I do really go to town with one on site. I have a feeling I'll probably still end up using a benchtop mortiser just because of the level of perfection you can get from that. But this was definitely interesting. And I don't know, jury's kind of still out on this. We'll see how it goes. I did, after using it for a little while, the square chisel did bottom out on the piece that came with the air hammer, so that is interesting also. I don't think it's messing anything up. Seems to fit just fine, being even that it bottomed out all the way down there. But yeah, it's definitely not gonna come off as far as that goes. So interesting tool, and I guess stay tuned and I'll see if I end up using it or not.